Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation Next tournament here on the HomeBoiz channel. And today we're going to be seeing Aster Phoenix going up against Dark Zane, with the winner of that battle going up against Zane Truesdale. Aster Phoenix obviously runs a Destiny Hero deck, a deck that aims to control Destiny by using effects that resolve but do not actually happen until a turn later on in the future. And he has lots of different trap cards that can negate stuff, protect his monsters, blow up other monsters. He has lots of resources here and things to that sort of utility, with his big three monsters being Destiny Hero Dreadmaster, Destiny Hero Dogma. Lastly, the big trio is rounded off by Destiny Hero Plasma. And if he manages to get the D4 spell card that is in his side deck, then Destiny Hero Plasma gains many other effects, including the ability to negate the effects of all monsters on the opponent's side of the field, negate the activation and effect of spells and trap cards that target him, destroying cards. Plasma becomes a true force to be reckoned with. And speaking of Plasma, the side deck goes into cards that not only give more special summons and draw power and consistency for the big three, but it also gives him cards that are specifically meant to be used in tandem with the Destiny Hero Plasma to make the nightmare all the more frightening. So with the draw power and the search power that we've seen him use constantly, to the point where a 50 card deck becomes a 30 card deck, just like that, the opponent is surely in for a world of hurt, no matter who they are. Speaking of which, let's look at the opponent's deck. Aster's opponent here today is Dark Zane, a version of Zane Truesdale that has been possessed by a lust for power, as well as the Cyber Dark cards that are now in his deck. It is still more or less a machine deck, but it does throw in quite a number of dragon monsters because the Cyber Darks want to absorb them from the graveyard. He also has a 50 card deck, so at least deck size, they should be even in regards to consistency. He wants to go for big, powerful fusions as quickly as possible, as often as possible, and he also wants to feed his graveyard with cards with like Power Wall in order to feed not just the Cyber Dark main deck monsters, but the extra deck monsters as well. And his entire side deck is more Cyber Dark support cards in order to thin his deck and search cards simultaneously as often as possible, beefing up his graveyard, beefing up the monsters on his side of the field, doing anything that he can to protect himself and to eliminate the opponent. And if that doesn't work, he also has the Cyber Dragon Nova and Cyber Dragon Infinity, which will give him the power not just to relinquish monsters himself, but to also negate the activation of any card and destroy it. There are some very ironic similarities between these two decks. Who will come out on top? Let's find out now. Let the duel begin. Round one between Aster and Dark Zane, with Dark Zane taking the lead, meaning Aster must have won the coin toss here. He's just going to summon the Cyber Valley, set a card in the back row, and end his turn. Aster's going to open up with the Polymerization, a very unusual but pleasantly surprising move on his part, summoning the Destiny Hero Dystopia, using one of its materials, in this case Captain Tenacious, to do damage to Zane's life points directly without even going into the battle phase. However, we're going to see Zane respond with the Cybernetic Overflow, banishing the Cyber Dragon in his hand to get Dystopia off the field. And while that doesn't stop the effect damage that he was to take, this will stop Dystopia from not only running over a lot of monsters, by which Zane has basically none, and it'll also stop him from using future plays by changing its attack or defense points. So, you know, you hate to see such a good card get used so early, but he kind of had to in this instance. And Aster's not done, because he has the Destiny draw, so he's going to pitch that Blade Master he could have potentially used in order to get 2 more cards. He's going to set 3 cards face down and pass his turn to Zane, who's going to pass it right back at him. Aster ironically goes into another Blade Master here, and he's just going to pop the Cyber Valley by attempting to swing into it, on which he's going to banish itself to end the battle phase and give Zane an extra draw. And he finally gets a second and a third monster. We're going to see the Cyber Dragon Core get summoned here. Now, Cyber Dragon Core can search for any spell or trap that has, quote, cyber end quote in its name, including cybernetic cards and all the like, cyber dark cards as well. He's gonna swing over the Blade Master. That's kind of hilarious. But since the Destiny Hero died, Destiny's Signal is gonna be summoning out Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, who can potentially give Aster some spell effects to use in the future. But more importantly, Zane is in risk of taking some big damage here. Another Diamond Dude hits the field, and he does go into a normal spell card on the top of the deck. So Graceful Charity can be activated at the start of Aster's next turn. Another Diamond Dude pops, and it is a spell card, but it's not a normal spell, so it gets moved to the bottom of the deck. Zane would have took some big damage here, but he's going to be using Cybernetic Revolution during the battle phase to sacrifice the Cyber Dragon core that's on his field in order to summon a fusion monster. But since he used a trap during the battle phase, Aster can activate his Trap Jammer. Just like the anime, if you know, you know. So Cybernetic Revolution is going to get negated. No monsters to protect himself, so now Zane is taking the full force of 2,800 to the face, leaving him nearly halfway dead. But since he has no monsters and Aster does, he can banish Cyber Dragon Core in order to summon a Cyber Dragon monster from the deck. And he's going to go for Cyber Dragon Zwei here, using its ability to reveal a spell card. And it looks like he revealed the Cybernetic Zone. Now Cyber Dragon Zwei has his name changed to Cyber Dragon, and Cyber Dragon Dry on the field during its normal summon can change Cyber Dragons to level 5, and it itself changes its name as well. We're going to see the Cyber Dragon Nova go into the Cyber Dragon Infinity here. Infinity is going to use its ability to absorb Diamond Dude, and while Infinity would start with 2,100, it gets an extra 200 for every material, now leaving it at 2,900 to swing over the Diamond Dude for 1,500 before passing it right back to Aster. No back row, by the way. Now Aster's going to be using the Graceful Charity effect here, but with only one card in hand, he knows Aster can't do too much, so he's going to be negating that Graceful Charity. All Aster has is the Dread Servant here. He's going to be summoning a 400 attack monster in attack mode. Zane goes into his Pot of Greed and then summoning the Cyber Dark Edge, who can absorb a dragon, but there is none to absorb. It will attempt to swing over the Dread Servant, but Aster has D Shield, which would switch it into defense mode and make it a Marshmallow. That's obviously not going to fly with Infinity on the field. So here comes some big direct attack damage Aster's way, making Aster now the underdog. All he can do is set a card, but since he's top decking with no resources against Infinity, there's not much he can do. And we're going to see Infinity actually absorb the Cyber Dark Edge there in order to boost itself and give itself another potential negate, expecting to burn one here. D Fortune would have ended the battle phase, but once again, Infinity just says, no, you cannot, sir. And with these two direct attacks, Zane wins round 1. It was more than impressive. We all have to admit that Zane won that round without any really good cards in his hand. Let's see if he can do this a second time with slightly better resources to start. We're going to see Cyber Dark Edge get normal summoned here on the very first turn of the duel with no cards in the graveyard. So very, very strange move. He left it in attack mode for a reason, though, surely. He's going to pass it over to Aster, who starts the duel with Terraforming in order to get and activate his Clock Tower Prison. So now it'll get a counter for every one of Dark Zane's standby phases. Once it reaches 4 counters, Aster no longer takes damage by battle. We're going to see him also set 2 and summon the Diamond Dude once again, and it is not a spell card, so that Plasma Trap card is going to go straight to the bottom of his deck. But during Zane's turn, he's going to be activating D Tactics here. D Tactics during both players' standby phases. Every single standby phase gives all of the Destiny Hero or Hero monsters in general on Aster's side of the field an extra 400 attack points, and that attack point boost remains even if D Tactics leaves the field. On top of that, if he gets out one of his big 3, one of his level 8 monsters, or one of the level 8 monsters that's in his extra deck, D Tactics will allow him to banish a card on Zane's field, hand, or graveyard. So he has to really watch out for that, as his Diamond Dude's already a massive 1,800. Zane here is going to set another card and summon Dry and attempt to suicide, which he successfully does with Edge attacking directly. And now Dry counts itself as Cyber Dragon, not just on the field, but in the graveyard as well. So he's going to use that to his advantage to search for Cyber Repair Plan to get a core so that he could set up for next turn's move before passing it over to Aster. Now, he's going to actually top deck the Polymerization, which is perfect for him here, fusing the Destiny Hero Draw guy with the Destiny Hero Malicious, for the Destiny Hero Dystopia with 2,800, and Dystopia is a level 8, so we're going to see multiple things happen here. First, Dystopia is going to pick one of the monsters in Aster's graveyard and do direct damage to Zane's life points. Secondly, Aster will be able to use D-Tactics to remove something from play, but we're actually going to see the cybernetic hitting technology pop here in response. So when Zane got attacked, he could have used this in order to destroy both monsters, but instead he's going to use it now, destroying the trap card itself along with one of the cyber monsters on his field to get rid of Dystopia. However, that leaves Aster with a single card that he can banish on the field, and that was his face down Rebirth Judgment. It could have made all the monsters in the graveyard dragons, which could have made his cyber darks really start to pop off. But at least he didn't take 2,800. However, we have another counter with the Clock Tower Prison, and since it's the next standby phase, Draw Guy revives himself from the graveyard, and both players get to draw a card now. So Aster's hand is no longer empty, and since it came during the standby phase, it is eligible for the benefits of D-Tactics, bringing it up to 2,000 attack. We're still going to see Core get normal summon here in order to search the trap card he attempted to use last time. Let's see if it'll resolve. Draw Guy goes up to 24, and we're going to see Doomlord get summoned to potentially remove things from the field. We're also going to see Malicious activate from the graveyard, banishing itself for another copy of Malicious from the deck in attack mode, fearing nothing, and all three are going to get sacrificed for the Destiny Hero Plasma. He for sure does not fear whatever the face down card is that Zane has. Wink. He's going to be using Plasma here, and since it's a level 8, he's going to attempt to banish the face down card. And honestly, there's no point in Zane activating the Cybernetic Revolution in response, because you have to think he has to sacrifice Core's cost and then summon the fusion monster, but Plasma can still absorb things and gain their attack points and add it onto himself, or at least half of it. So if he were to use the Revolution there, his Cyber End Dragon, let's say, would be benefiting Aster instead. So he has to just take this loss, take it on the chin, and we're going to see another third and final Malicious hit the field as well. So now he's, oh my god, he's actually Link Summoning. He's using the Plasma to Link Summon Extra Hero Cross Crusader, a Link 2 that is going to revive the level 8 Dystopia. I don't know if, yes, D-Tactics' banish effect is only once per turn. That's insane that he actually went ahead and sacked off Plasma that way. All I can say is I'm thoroughly impressed, and he's going to do some major damage directly. Maybe he thought that this play would just get him closer to winning sooner. Another counter on the Clock Tower, so we are now at 3 counters. During Zane's next turn, if there is a next turn, Aster no longer takes damage here. We're going to see Cybernetic Overflow activating, banishing Cyber Dragons from the graveyard of different levels, in this case 2, in order to destroy the 2 monsters that Aster had on the field. He's going to set the card that he top deck and pass his turn. Zane has the advantage in terms of, resources and whatnot, but now with the Clock Tower Prison at 4 counters, what can he possibly do but set a card and end his turn? And Aster's going to do a similar move on his part. The Clock Tower Prison is going to continue to activate. There's nothing we can really do about that. Zane's going to actually set a card, and Cyber Phoenix is going to be switched to attack mode and attempt to attack, but he swung into the Destiny Hero Defender with a ginormous 2,700 defense point stat line. However, now Zane is going to get to draw 2 cards every single turn as long as it stays in defense mode. He's also going to be popping the Cyber Network here. So Cyber Network will destroy itself during Zane's 3rd standby phase and special summon as many light machines that are removed from play as possible, but he won't be able to attack or use their effects. D-Tactics thankfully only boost the attack points, but we're going to see Defender come into attack mode. Decider is going to swing over for 400 with the Phoenix, and thanks to D-Tactics, that's just enough for Defender to swing for game. If anybody told me that Defender was going to win a duel and not by deck out, I never would have believed them. But here we are, round 3. Dark Zane is going to be activating a Fusion Sage to get his power bond right away. He's going to be summoning Exploder Dragon, forcing Aster to make a choice. If he wants to swing over the Exploder Dragon by battle, he has to be willing to lose a monster in the process at the cost of not even doing damage to Zane. Now, as for Aster's turn, he's going to be Destiny drawing, pitching the Doom Lord in order to pick up 2 extra cards for free. And Destiny Draw is going to be pitching another Diamond Dude to give him another 2 cards. He took a risk there, and it might not have paid off. himself, honestly, because now he has no Destiny heroes in his hand that he could really work with. He has Swords of Revealing Light, though, so we're going to see if maybe he can get something out of these next 3 turns. He's going to set 2 cards and pass. Dark Zane is going to be summoning out the Cyber Dragon Core. In order to get a spell or trap card, and he chooses Network, he sets it and he passes it back to Aster. Ooh, you hate to see a polymerization here. That could have really come in handy for him, but he has no Destiny heroes to work with. So we're going to see the Cyber Network activating, banishing the Cyber Dragon straight from the deck before Zane's turn. And that's actually a phenomenal play because now he thins his deck right before the draw, so he gets to stack up resources and potentially get a better card in the process with a single move. Attachment Cyber is going to equip itself to Core. That way, if it goes to the graveyard while it's equipped, he can pick a Dragon or a Machine Cyber in the graveyard and summon it back. Core is going to hit the field in defense mode this time, and Aster still has nothing to work with, so now all 3 of the OG Cyber Dragons are banished out of Zane's deck. He'll be getting them on his next turn. We're going to see Dry actually get summoned here, and normally you would think you want to keep 3 spaces open for your 3 Cyber Dragons, but since Dry can change the level of Core in himself, he's going to be going into an Exceed summon here to get Nova and then get Infinity, so he has a 2700 max 3 negate monster on board just in time to help him out and to potentially shut down some of Aster's future moves. He still does not draw a monster, so he has to set one of his D cubes and pass turn there. Now turn 3, Aster is safe for a 4th turn in a row because now Zane can no longer attack, but here are the 3 Cyber Dragons and just a set card. So unlike Shepard, he's not popping the Power Bond too early. It's not how you play a card, it's how you use a card. Aster's turn, and now he gets Dogma, all the help that that's going to do him, but he's going to activate the Over Destiny, targeting the Diamond Dude in the graveyard. Over Destiny will summon a lower level monster from the deck, and he chooses Destiny Hero Disc Commander, and I believe I know where he's going with this from here. He's going to be summoning the D-Cube in his hand, and flip summoning the D-Cube that was on his field, and sacrificing all 3 of them for the Destiny Hero Dogma. Now, it's really interesting that he didn't decide to go into the Cross Crusader. Unless Cross Crusader needs both of the monsters to be heroes, he could have got some draws and some searches off of that. But if the summon restrictions that he needs 2 heroes, that is just unfortunate. But Dogma's here, big 3400, and he has to swing over the Infinity, or at least he was going to try to. But here's Cybernetic hitting technology, popping one of the Cyber Dragons in order to pop the Dogma, and Aster's going to respond with Break the Destiny. So he destroys one of his own level 8 or higher heroes on the field, since it was going to be destroyed anyways, and now his opponent does not get a main phase 1. So on the next turn, it would have been battle phase as soon as Zane drew, but we're going to see Infinity negate Break the Destiny. I believe we wanted to get that into the graveyard regardless, though, right? Yes, it says here that Break the Destiny can be banished from the graveyard to give Aster a search of any spell or trap that names a specific Destiny hero. So maybe he's using that to fill up his hand and potentially bait Infinity if he can live here. And he's going to pop it now, actually. So he's going to get D Tactics out onto the field. And that works because it does list Destiny and Dragoons. So there we go. We're going to see Cyber Repair Plan get activated in order to search a card. And he's going to summon the core to get another search on top of that. Power Bond is finally going to activate, going into an 8,000 attack Cyber and Dragon. Zane is really confident here with Infinity on the field to protect himself. It's going to be negating the D Fortune, Deja Vu for Aster. So the 8,000 attack damage is going to go through. And this was not just a game. This was an OTK. Zane has won the match.